Okay, so last night we went and we saw Ghost. We saw Nothing More. Nothing More was the opening act. And it was nice to see a concert with one opening act.
Yes. Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of concerts that are like 3 or 4 bands.
And it started on time.
It did. It actually started 2 minutes early. I looked at my phone. Oh.
Cool. I was pleasantly surprised by a concert that both started on time and that didn't have a bunch of extra acts. And it's not that I don't appreciate like exposure for lesser known bands and local bands and whatnot, but it makes for a much longer night. And there are times where that opening act comes out and I'm like, oh, that just added another 45 minutes. It's going to be a long night because you got like probably a 25-minute set and then you have to do the set change to get to the next band. That was fun. I want to start off, though, talking about Nothing More.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen him in concert.
We've seen him twice. Nothing More is absolutely fantastic live.
They are really fun in concert.
Their music doesn't sound... Their studio version, the CD version of the music, doesn't sound anything like them live. There is an energy. There is an overwhelming amount of energy in their live show. I think they should do a live CD.
They are very fun live. Yeah, and being our second time seeing them, after the last time we saw them, they opened for 3 Days Grace, which was a fantastic concert. But I really, really liked them. And so I looked them up afterwards and I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like the same music at all.
Nope.
I thought it was different songs. So I actually had to look up their playlist and listen to their playlist, and it's not the same. It's still, they have some really good songs. They do have some songs I really like.
Yes, they do.
But they are amazing live. They're really fun. They are fun to watch. They have this weird musical contraption thing that he climbs on, and it does like percussion and echoing, and
it was in a different position on the stage this time than it was the last time we saw them. The last time we saw them was here in Abbotsford. This time it was in Vancouver.
Yeah, but it's fun, and...
Yeah.
3 of the members use this contraption musical thing, and it's entertaining, it's interesting, and yeah.
But yeah, live,
they're really good live.
Live, they're absolutely amazing. I've been talking about doing a top 10 list of my favorite live acts, my favorite concerts. I have a feeling Nothing More will end up in that top 10. I think they're a pretty good
really
band.
Fun. Yeah.
But again, honestly, I think their energy live is so good that they should do a live production, a live album, and put out one that way.
That would be really cool.
Because I think their popularity would go up. They're one of those bands that just sounds better live. And that's a compliment, because there are a lot of bands that you see live.
Pack AD, they're another one that
Pack AD sounds
really
much better live. And I love their CDs. I've got their CDs, but they sound better live than they do in studio. So... you know, it's one of those rarities, but when you see that, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But they played for about a half an hour. I think they played, I was trying to count, maybe 8 or 9 songs.
Yeah, I think it was like 9.
And so they had a nice, good, long set as well. That's the other thing when you have multiple acts. You'll get like 4 songs here and 5 songs there usually. And so with only one opening act, you get a longer set and you get more of a feel of that band, and they can really settle in and do a full act.
We have seen some pre-openers that have like 4 songs.
I think the first time we saw Dead Deads, I think they played 4.
They were able to play a few.
But just as we were going, these guys are great, they were gone.
Ashes to New played 4 songs.
Yeah. And they were really good too. And Ashes to New has now grown a little bit, and they're a little better known now, and they've had some hits.
They've had another album that did pretty well.
Yes, and they're really good live as well.
Yeah, they were.
But yeah, so that set us up nicely. There was about a 45-minute break, maybe 35-minute break in between Nothing More and Ghost. The set for Ghost is fantastic. It's meant to look like a Catholic church. Yeah. I think the stained glass appearance behind the stage looks absolutely amazing. The whole set, the feel of it is great. There were parents there with little kids dressed up like the Cardinal, the evil Cardinal from Ghost. And he was great. I thought he was great with the crowd.
Yes. He said Vancouver more times than I think I've ever heard Vancouver.
Yes.
He had to have said Vancouver at least 20 times. There's a lot of, hey, Vancouver!
Yeah, yeah. He played to the crowd very, very well. He said a lot of
BC!
And not only that, but at the end of the show, a lot of the time, and I had this criticism of Marilyn when we saw Marilyn, so I'm going to compare it. Marilyn just throws the microphone and walks off.
That was sad. Yeah,
when these guys were done.
Is it over?
When these guys were done. And I'm trying to remember the lead singer of Ghost, but because of the fact that they're just this group that I consider more theatrical than a band. They're a great band, though. It is a spectacle. But the whole band came out, and they must have bowed to the crowd. I know they bowed once, but they must have saluted the crowd for like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And they soaked all that in. Yeah, and they gave you a feeling. They gave you a feeling that they
at the end of a play.
They really appreciated the crowd, and the crowd. Most of the people on the floor stayed to applaud them throughout.
Yeah.
And you got this real feeling of a bonding between him and he was also taking the time to wave and blow kisses and whatever he was doing towards every section of the crowd, including where we were. Mm-hmm. He was making sure, if you're in the back corner, I acknowledge you here and thanks for coming out. That's what you should do. That's the kind of appreciation that I felt, and I thought, you know what? That's how you sell yourself as a band. That was not a sold-out arena.
No.
He could have been completely forgiven for looking out at that crowd.
It was a smaller venue.
Yeah, he could have been forgiven for looking out at that crowd and going, all right, well, we're done and we're out of here, and this was kind of a disappointing turnout. No, there was none of that. There was no sense of any kind of disappointment. And if he was at all disappointed about a turnout, because again, there were whole sections where there were like 4 people. And all I can think looking at that crowd is, people have got to start listening to metal again. This is getting ridiculous. Ghost is fantastic. And honestly, I think
really fun.
I think the kids would have had fun at that concert.
Oh yeah,
the kids would have had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that would have been when
they had fireworks.
Oh my goodness!
They had lasers. They had so many different colors and setup of lights. They did have the confetti twice. They had fire from multiple angles. We could feel it at the other end of the arena. And all I kept thinking was, this to me feels a lot like sort of a Rammstein concert. The way that they put these concerts together, the whole stage and everything, it feels like there's multiple different. And it's not that anything's ripped off. It feels like there's a lot of influences here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when I saw the setup and the stairs and the church, and I said to her, this feels like what Marilyn Manson wants his stage show to be.
Yeah.
This feels like it's that sort of a sacrilegious but religious sort of feeling that he wants at certain parts of his show.
And he had 5 different costumes.
Oh, yes. And they have a lot of different musical interludes. So that he can go and get changed, and I noticed different band members going out. Mm-hmm. One great thing with Ghost...
Especially the 2 backup singers, they went off.
And the one great thing with Ghost is that because everybody in the band wears masks and they're all faceless, right? They're the nameless ghouls. You can switch out people that are on stage and nobody's even going to really pay any attention. Because they don't have an individual identity. We didn't even realize... Well, I didn't realize till the end. You realized partway through that 2 of them were women.
I'm pretty darn positive, too.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I had thought so.
I had figured out one of them was, but the other one I didn't think until you mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, no. Yeah,
and
2 of them are women. And then the one
came out with the keyboard guitar, and it was like, oh, okay, that looks like a woman. That, or it's somebody that moves very feminine.
And it doesn't matter.
No.
Because of the way this entire show is set up. Fun. I even thought while I was watching this, I thought, as a cynic... And if you are somebody who wants to make a lot of money off this band, you could make this a play. You could have different casts. You could find somebody who could sing like he does, make masks, make outfits, the whole bit, and you could have numerous versions of Ghost touring, and you might not know whether you're seeing the real one or a knockoff, because all of them wear masks. Even the lead singer is wearing a mask.
Yes.
So it's this wonderful... And spectacle, I think, was a really good way of putting it. It definitely felt very theatrical in its setup.
Yeah.
Some of the songs have more energy than others.
Well, like you said, some of them are ballads.
And then
esque.
And then
And it also
the
felt
old
quite choreographed.
some of the old songs don't quite mix well with what he's doing now. So some of the really dark, kind of foreboding stuff that was from the earlier first album and a half, I want to say, because I know there's an EP in there, it doesn't quite mix with like Dance Macabre and Rats.
Yeah.
And the new stuff, Kiss the Go-Goat and Mariana Cross. Mariana Cross is so fun. I'm sorry if it's sacrilegious, but it is such a fun song, and I don't take the whole worship the devil part seriously from this. I think it's a fun show. I think it's just really neat. And then the way that he ended it. Now, everything I read said there was an encore. Every set list said there was an encore. We didn't get an encore because he put Dance Macabre right next to Square Hammer.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be the encore, and he just goes, "Hey, you want another song? Yeah,
okay.
All right, let's go. Here's another song." And Square Hammer started. I'm like, okay, which seemed to mess up. The lights didn't come on after they were done.
For quite a while, yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, they're waiting for an encore that he already did because he didn't pause in between songs 19 and 20 because I knew how many there were, or 18 and 19. But what a great show, and ending on Dance Macabre and Square Hammer is a great way to send the crowd off with that energy. Where we can all sing along and dance and clap and cheer. And it felt very 80s when we were all clapping along to Dance Macabre. I was like, yes. Because I told you when we were in the van not long ago, this could be great because we could do clapping like the 80s at this concert. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Anything else?
I don't think so. They were really fun live. I did have a little bit of trouble with the sound, though.
There is a part where there's this sonic. I don't know how to put it. It's a tone from the keyboard, like the bass
it's
keyboard.
It's like, you know when they have bass that's really loud and you can hear the wavelengths?
You feel it in your chest.
Sometimes they do it in music and it actually distorts the voice and makes it do that. I have sensitive ears, not to volume, to pressure.
Yep.
And it really hurt, and it just kept going because it was a little intermission thing where they had like the
druids, like these druid
with
types.
The masks on and the lantern.
Yeah, that was great.
It kept going, and it really hurt my ears, and so I'm just like trying to
they had the smoke machines going, but she was in pain.
That was really hard, and then afterwards. I don't know if the bass was extra loud or if maybe I was more
for that following song.
But I was still having a really hard time.
Yeah, it was for that following song.
It messed up my ears that it hurt. So I really didn't like that part, but it was still a really fun live show.
So consider that kind of a heads up if you have sensitive ears.
If I went and saw them again, I would bring noise canceling headphones for that part.
Yeah.
Just because my ears are more sensitive, and I don't usually have too much of a problem at concerts.
It did hurt my ears as well. I had to do, the yawn thing you do where you're trying to depressurize when you're going up or going down in altitude.
It just went on for
I had to do that a couple
long.
of times because the pressure was building in my ears. But it was overall fantastic show. I would put Ghost right up there and with like Rammstein and Slipknot. In terms of the overall spectacle, the great show. And the other thing, too, that reminded me of Rammstein that was so much fun is when you go and see most concerts, every song is played and the lights will alternate a little bit. With this show, the lights, the special effects are all choreographed exactly to match with the music, and every song gets its own setup of lights and special effects. That's something that Rammstein has had for decades, and I've loved that. The lights go blue, and I go, oh, Kind of Lust is coming on, because I know what's going on because of the way the lights change. And with this show, it's the same thing. Every song was its own show and had its own lighting, feel,
it was all
everything.
Compared to a lot of the concerts that we go to, this was very choreographed.
Yes.
A lot of them we go to are not. It's just the band members up there doing their thing. This felt choreographed. Like with they have 3, sometimes 4 guitar players. It felt like they knew when to move positions. Like there was one point, one of the guitar players was up in the center and the singer came from behind, he knew without seeing behind him, he kind of walked and went to the side right as the singer was getting to the front. And there were different parts where both of the two guitar players on the sides were doing the same thing, going up to the stairs. Or or the one up on the top would come down. It felt very choreographed. And then you also had the two that I think are women over on the keyboard and extra percussion, not the drums. There she had like a tambourine, and she had different things over there. And she was also one of the backup singers.
Yes.
The one that was the backup singer, you could see her doing specific things that I think that was.
See, I was busy watching the guitarists. I got to be honest. I was busy watching the guitarists up front, which is kind of how they set it up.
Back there were kind of cool because they have this small space, and they had a bunch of different things back there. And the one when she was singing, she did so much like full body hand gestures, so she was kind of fun to watch. And then you had the bigger other girl
of the two.
Yeah,
she was
curvy, but shorter.
Yeah.
And I first started thinking maybe that's a woman just because she was significantly shorter.
She was posing a lot too when they were doing the salute at the end and all that. She was doing a lot of posing and walking and strutting.
Right, which also made
she had fun with that.
Sure.
I guess if you're wearing a mask, you can make up your own character and do whatever you like. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's really. Yeah, it's a great show. I can't recommend it enough. I know they're in Penticton tonight. They'll be performing while we're doing this video and uploading it. I know the North American tour continues from here. I will definitely see them again.
Yeah, they were really fun.
No doubt in my mind I'll see them again. And again, if this is one...
Shannon almost didn't have us go.
This is one concert. Well, because, hockey season's coming and I I'm getting ready for Hermit season already.
Hermit season. Yeah.
But
I knew you'd like it though.
Yeah, it was great fun, and this is, if we were going to bring the kids to a first concert, this would definitely be one that I think they would enjoy. Yeah, this is one that I think there's enough visually to keep them all occupied and keep them all interested.
And Adelaide could sing along to a few of the songs.
Yes, she could sing along to Rats, Dance Macabre. She knows some of the words for that as well. And a couple of the other ones, too. Faith is the one that's the really ominous sounding one.
Yeah.
That I really like a lot. Cerise is the other ominous sounding one from the previous album. Great songs. But yeah, so overall, fantastic show. Would highly recommend. I think you agree.
Yep.
So, yeah. And it's amazing because it's a band that 6 months ago, I didn't really care about them. I had seen Square Hammer and seen the video, and I'm kind of like, whatever. Some of their music sort of reminded me of Typo Negative, so I went, I'll just listen to Typo Negative. But there are a lot of different things they borrow from, and yet, like I said, even though there's some borrowing that goes on here, it's not a Greta Van Fleet thing. It's not that you listen and go, oh, it's Zeppelin. No, with Ghost, there's different bands that they clearly are influenced by, but they still create their own sound out of it, whereas Greta Van Fleet is Zeppelin. It's just Zeppelin. Where I'm like, oh my god, it's Zeppelin. If Robert Plant was 30 years younger, he'd be going nuts. But he's like, whatever. So, anyways, there you go. Let me know if you guys saw Ghost, what you think in the comment section below. They seem to be a very popular band. And there's a lot of people who were surprised.
Quite a few subscribers.
There were a lot of people who were very surprised I like Ghost. That was the number one question I got was, you like Ghost? I'm like, yeah.
Have they not been watching very long and know what kind of music you like?
I guess not. So, I know the assumption is I probably listen to country or Bon Jovi or something old, but I do like new music when it's
too.
But I do like new music when it's good. It has to be good, and it feels like we're coming out of.
Horrible. I don't know if this would work if you like country.
No, it feels like we're coming out of a time where music was kind of getting crappy, and we're getting back to where music's starting to be good again, and I'm getting back to where I can watch. The video channels we have up here, which are 24/7, just videos, no commercials, there's commercials, but it's just a commercial for Stingray.
Reality shows.
But I'm starting to get back into where I can actually watch, a bunch of brand new videos and go, I like that. That's kind of crappy, but it's not bad. we're getting back to that. Now, it's the metal channel I'm doing that with, but still, it's better than it was a few years ago. A few years ago,
Well,
it
a
was
lot of the
getting
bands we
ugly.
like have been coming out with new albums too.
And at least not every band is trying to sound growly. For a while, there was like every metal band had to growl. I'm like, seriously? Not everybody has to sound like Cookie Monster. It was just ridiculous. So thank you, metal, for not all sounding like Cookie Monster, and definitely Ghost doesn't sound like Cookie Monster.
No.
He has a very cool voice.
Yeah.
And yet the music still has its metal to it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let me know your thoughts regarding Ghost in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And thank you guys so much for all your support. Getting really close to 10,000 subscribers on this channel, past 9,500. And that's thanks to you guys. I will talk to you again soon.